Welcome to Newport News Park. I'm J. Michael Moore. We're here at Wynne's Mill in Newport News Park, which during the initial stages of the American Civil War, this was fortified by enslaved Africans from throughout the peninsula as one of the fortifications of the 12-mile defensive line that stretched from Yorktown along the Warwick River down toward what is now Fort Eustis, or would have been Mulberry Island. Along this 12-mile defensive front, the Confederates had two pre-war gristmill dams. One of them was at Wynne's Mill, which we're near now, and the other was at Lee's Mill, which is now part of a city park. The Confederates fortified that and then added three more dams, so that in October of 1861, Major General John Bankhead Magruder wrote to the Confederate Secretary of War and said, along this river are 5 dams, the effect of which is to back up the water along the course of the river so that for nearly 3/4 of its distance, its passage is impracticable for either infantry or artillery. In March of 1862, Union Major General George Brenton McClellan brought his Army of the Potomac, 121,500 men strong, and they moved from Washington, D.C. in 3.5 weeks in 389 vessels to Fort Monroe and Newport News Point. On April 4th, 1862, they moved up the peninsula, both on the Hampton-Yorktown Road, moving from Fort Monroe through the old village of Hampton, through Big Bethel, through Harwood's Mill, on their way up toward Yorktown. During the initial stages of the siege of the Warwick-Yorktown line between April 5th and May 3rd, 4th, 1862, here at Wynne's Mill was one of the more curious incidents of the Civil War. Lieutenant Orlando Wagner was a United States topographical engineer. He was a West Point graduate, and he was in the middle of the day. It was hot. He had on a straw hat, his full dress uniform, out at a drafting table with an umbrella over top of him to shade him, was sketching out battery number 7, which the Union were going to put across from Wynne's Mill and have 6 20-pounder Parrott rifles, which was medium artillery, to help neutralize this part of the lines. He, of course, attracted the notice of the Confederate artillerists that began to open fire on him. They fired at him not only once, twice, third time, hit him and mortally wounded him in his shoulder. He was carried to the Union Field Hospital, which is in the Marl Bank neighborhood of York County today, at the Clark Farm, where his left arm was amputated, and unfortunately he would die of wounds a couple of days later. This entire episode was later immortalized in a print by Alfred Woad, which sketched the battery that fired the shot that killed Lieutenant Wagner. Thank you for coming with us today at Wynne's Mill. We look forward to having you come visit with us on other episodes.